Hey guys, welcome to Button Masher, TV and Film Talk. I'm Andrew, aka Virtual Dave. I'm here with Taha, aka Munchin T.
Hey, what's up?
Jerome, aka Loudmouth J.
What's up?
And Callum, aka
Wilson!
Today we'll be talking about Avatar and all things Avatar.
This is the first time he didn't reply to it. Usually he just goes, "Hey guys," but this time it's
I think we're slowly beating him down by screaming his name.
Yeah, I slowly exhaled. I was just slowly like, I can see it coming. So I was just like,
okay.
I'm glad you come to terms with it one.
So yeah, this week is a Avatar special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're just gonna talk about all things Avatar, and let's try not to get too emotional, but it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
We're definitely getting emotional up in here. All right, so what do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk
Korra.
about Korra.
Get it out of our system
Yeah.
while the memes are still cooling down.
So yeah, what would you say? Just overall, what were your feelings on Legend of Korra as this thing being after Avatar?
I was hesitant at first. Quite hesitant when I watched the first season. I was like, it's a decent show. Didn't really feel like it had the same scope. But then season 2 destroyed my soul. And then,
Seconded.
Yeah,
And then-
I think everyone feels the same about that one.
but then season 3 was just that glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
It's that glimmer of hope, and I think I've said it before. I think season 4 was a decent way to end. I don't think it's the best climactic end. It's no Avatar versus the Fire Lord. It's a way to end.
Really?
What?
You really like the ending?
I didn't like it. I didn't say it was the best ending ever. If they had to end the show, it was just a way to end it.
I disagree. I don't think it was that great of an ending. What do you agree as well?
No, I don't think it was an ending at all. I
Yeah,
thought
it felt like an ending to a season, maybe,
Yeah.
but not to Korra.
No.
It
But
didn't feel like
the issue was that, like you say, that there wasn't any coherent. It was too. Each season, I think I said this before. Each season felt like an ending to a tiny story.
Yeah.
In Korra, it never felt like it was this climactic end.
That's probably my problem with Korra is that every season just feels like another chapter of filler.
Yeah.
For like an anime or something.
Because Avatar was that. Avatar
Yeah.
Korra was that. That's all it was. It was designed so that we would get more Avatar, and then I think we were only supposed to get one season.
But exactly. See, that's the thing, right? The first season was good because it was something extra just to show how this world progressed, how this world grew, and that worked really well. I thought that was extremely well done. But then afterwards, they just felt like they were forcing it.
To be honest, it just felt like the first season of Korra was like after the Aang series ended and they made the comic books of extra stories. It just felt like in the middle of them writing a comic, like, should we just make an anime out of this? Yeah, sure, why not? And that's how it came to pass. Because it just felt like, because even when the comic books they like hit on a topic where it's like a clash of Earth Kingdom and Fire Kingdom lands and blah blah blah,
They have
and that
basically
eventually
the formation.
graduates to Republic City. Well, that's in Earth Kingdom, but it's like a mixture of all different cultures and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like a comic that just became an anime halfway through drafting.
The comic had a very mature story in terms of which is something that, like, they say the original the Last Airbender it's quite kiddish. Some people would say that. I disagree. I don't think it was. But if for anyone who would say that, the comics clearly has a very adult concept. There's a genuine problem here. You know? There's two sides that are quite legitimate in what they're saying, and they're clashing with each other. And as the Avatar, being the bridge between both worlds and trying to keep balance,
It's an actual
yeah,
confrontation.
it was a genuine struggle for him, you know. And I think it was really well done.
But then again, I think the only reason why it got more of a kid stamp is because it came out on Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
And anything that comes on, you're immediately gonna have a backfoot in mind saying, "Oh, it's Nickelodeon kids," when in actuality it is quite an in-depth story behind, like, a normal, even like, for Western style anime. It had a decent story.
To be honest, its story was extremely effective, and I think the problem is people have mistaken, and people keep doing this with, like, even with anime, just because it's animated and stuff and whatever. The show tried to be light You know, it was these kids that were in this world that was just essentially destroyed, right? And they were trying to keep it a little bit lighthearted.
I wouldn't even say keep it lighthearted. I think they just try to remind us that these are still kids.
Yeah.
If anything.
The show grew up with its audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I strongly believe that the first season isn't the best season, even in Avatar. Like Avatar Last Airbender. It's got loads of childish storylines to it. It's almost like the classic formation of a cartoon for kids, where it's like random story. But
I don't agree with that.
But they did have a coherent body towards the end. I think season 2 and season 3 have a much more like we're aiming
in
for
a
this.
way.
All it was when I saw the little things was they would mention it in every episode. They'd be like, "Oh, we're heading towards the Northern Water Tribe," but then something would happen and they'd get off course. And it is the same. But in season 2, they have stuff happens to them, and then the story changes and it revolves around them. They were never originally going to go to Ba Sing Se.
Yeah.
They go to Ba Sing Se because something stops them. Whereas in season 1,
No, that's not what happened.
He's right.
No, sorry, no, I'm thinking of Omashu, because they plan out in the first season
to go to
make stops.
Yeah.
To make stops at certain places.
Yeah.
Well, if they wanted to, they just go straight to the Water Tribe.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They decided I'm gonna go here and here and here.
But then again, that kind of here and there thing was because he needs to find people to teach him different bending styles.
It's not even just. I have something to say about it, but I know Andrew wants to say something, so go on.
Just that I think that Callum was right about like it was viewed that it progressed a lot more through the season and that it was much better towards the end, especially when Toph joined in the second season.
Yeah.
When Toph joins, you're like, yes,
this is a show that's definitely changing for the better.
I definitely agree in the sense that it got better. I mean, the show definitely got better as it went along. I think the budget went up and things just started getting really well done. But in terms of what went down in the first season,
the first season's fantastic in terms of story.
In terms of, because I kind of get what he means in the sense that it kind of drifts off topic in terms of their goal is to go to the Water Tribe, but instead you have all these episodes that are revolved around them visiting this kind of people and whatever. But the thing is,
and I'm not saying that doesn't happen in the other seasons. It does, but the way that the storyline is always varying, is always changing because of what happens to them.
Yeah.
What I feel like in season 1 is they sort of do these pit stops.
Yeah.
And then they move on. And they go to, but their whole entire aim is to go to the Water Tribe. And by the time you get to episode like 15 or something, you're like, come on, guys, get to the Water Tribe.
No. See, I disagree. Yeah, and I think the point of the first season, right? This is a new world to the audience. We have no idea what this world is like. This is
new characters, new world.
Exactly.
Even in the first episode, we find out that one of the people in that world is 100 years old.
Yeah.
So even that world that he's new in, that we're new in, we're all new in that world. So establishing characters, what they want to do, who they are, what's happening, who the bad guys are. We need to understand that so we can actually get into the story. That's why season 2 and 3 has more of a body to it.
Yeah, and you have to give them a chance. They will go from the
because everyone has semblance and knows what the main
aim. Honestly,
I knew they were going to do that. I do feel like everything that happens in season 2 and season 3 is leading to this big thing. Whereas I felt like there are storylines like I'm on like episode, I'm rewatching it with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And we're on season 3 now, and we're like episode 2 where Aang goes to school and stuff like that. He goes to the firebending school and he does all that. That's a filler episode.
No, it isn't. I tell you why, right? Because the establishment of that episode is because the entire series we're just looking at the Fire Nation as this
evil.
as this completely evil, this evil nation. And everyone's bad. They teach their kids to kill people from birth, right? But that was to establish that these kids are just kids, and this nation they're good people at heart. Like it's the leaders that are the problem.
If anything, that was like a really strong episode. Because again, like puts a point that we're not gonna. This is gonna basically touch on and then leave. Is that hatred is taught, not inherited.
Exactly.
But that's because that's how Aang saw the firebenders as well. Because he knew them all those years ago as nice people.
Yeah. And again, that happened in season 1 when he gets saved by Zuko. Yeah. So it's a case where we see Zuko in like the second episode where he has a scar. Bam. Immediately distinctive characteristic in the character. If he has a scar, he must be bad. Scar, Lion King, boom. Let's go. Let's leave that there. Let's leave that there. Hey, let's leave that there. But the minute you see like him as a bad guy, and then all he talks about at the beginning, even though he's a bad guy, quote unquote, he wants to restore his honor. So immediately, the fact that a bad guy wants honor is like it's a bit of a hold up. Why does a bad guy need honor exactly?
Yeah.
Which makes him like maybe he isn't exactly a bad guy. Then when he gets captured by one of Zuko's uncles, and then he goes in to save him.
Yeah.
And then that bit where after Zuko gets knocked out and Aang waits for him to wake up, it's like 100 years ago, one of my friends, was my best friends, used to get so much trouble together. And he was from the Fire Nation. Do you think if we lived in different times, we could be friends too? And even then, you see him pause for a little bit, and even after he throws the fire punch and then Aang like disappears, you still see him stop and think.
I think that's the progression.
See, that's the strength.
That's when Zuko decides that he starts questioning everything.
No, but even then, that's a point where we find out that what we think is a bad character isn't a bad character, which is good for a season.
Which is the point here.
When you originally watch it, that's the point. But when you go back and watch it, you can see it from day one.
Yeah,
the guy is all about just restoring his honor.
Yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't. Yeah. And his uncle says it in like the last episode of season 2. He says something like, "You need to start asking yourself, what do you want?"
Exactly. See, that's the strength of these characters.
Not what you've been thrust upon. Your destiny is what you choose it to be, not what someone's making it for you.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you're saying season 1 was slow in terms of getting to the water tribe and them having those pit stops, it's for that reason. It's not slow. It's the fact that we need actual ground like these characters.
I told you, hold on.
I think it's grounded.
If I may, we need to in season 1, we need characters that have an actual substance.
See.
Otherwise, it's just a subpar anime TV show, whatever. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, they're just doing that stuff, but who is he? Or they're just doing this stuff, but who is he? It's a case of we need to know why they're doing that, how they feel about that, like and we can see that with every single comment they make, how they react, and what they do progressing after the fact.
Exactly. And to support that point, right? And I know, just mentioning this is gonna. But one of the problems with the Last Airbender film. let's not explode too quickly, but
fine.
Right, the problem with it is, like you're saying, you just kind of want it to move along, get it to the water tribe. That's the problem with the film. The film just kind of condenses all their pit stops into a montage, and there's some music and whatever, and it's terrible. It's terrible because you think he's going around, he's saving people, but you're not learning anything about the world.
Even like the strong, that strong episode with where Zuko rescues Aang. It's montage with slow motion fight scenes. So it's like, rather than having a point where you see two characters on two different paths that are almost quite frankly the same in terms of being good people, it's reduced to a 300 slow motion fight scene. Yeah. And that's like, no.
See, that's the thing, right? It's this battle between what you're saying is it should just go straight to the point. But the problem is, the main problem with the film is its emphasis on exposition. Constantly trying to say something that leads to something else, and it goes on and on. There's no pit stop. There's no time to just be human.
My issue with season 1 isn't necessarily the pit stops themselves. It's the amount of episodes that veer away completely.
Okay, give me one
from it. The one where they go in the map when they go down into the crater with the two tribes.
Which one's that?
Oh, that's when
and then they're arguing
some
about
history sacred orb thing.
Yeah, and it's got. I know what it's about. It's about
but
teaching.
That in itself is
teaching
a filler
people. That is a filler episode.
Yeah,
and I'm saying there are a few filler episodes in there which they didn't need.
I'm trying to remember that.
I agree with you. There are moments. There are moments that need to happen. Like the Blue Spirit episode needs to happen.
Yeah.
And what happens between them that needs to happen. There are certain things that happen when they go to Marshu that needs to happen, even though they sort of just do a pit stop, and then King Boomy's all like, "Yeah, you need to go low water bending because you need to do this."
But the message of that episode, was look at things differently to how you see it, because the entire point of the task that the Avatar was given, or the test that he had, the whole message was, not everything is what it seems. And that is something that echoes throughout the rest of the entire thing, because that's the character of Aang. Is he never just think, everyone just tell him, just kill the fire lord, but now he's like, nah, I need to think of this differently, and there's that's the thing is with all these little pit stops that you have and all these times that are away from like the main plot line, it's all kind of just, it's building on these characters for one. It's showing you more of how these characters act and how they interact with each other, and also how they deal with certain situations. I can't remember if this was season 1, but it's the one where they go to the village where everyone listens to this person who with the prophecies. The fortune teller one, right? and
This
that was
woman just is just talking.
Yeah, I think that's
arse.
the latter half. It's the latter half of season 1.
yeah.
She talks out of her arse, and everyone listens to her.
I wouldn't say.
But the thing is, she does it though because
it seems like she's more speaking on intuition, and she has, quite frankly, a very good intuition.
To be honest, yeah, everything that she says
Happens.
ends up happening. So everything's like the way she says the village won't be destroyed.
No, the way you're saying that now, you're sounding a lot like soccer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
Yeah.
you're saying? But I mean, like, she said it happened. So
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
she didn't say how it happened. She just said it happened. I'm just saying.
The village won't be destroyed, and it wasn't.
Katara's gonna fall in love with a powerful bender. What did Aang do? He stopped a volcano by himself.
Screw that. He's the Avatar.
Hey,
That's as bit as high as it
we're
goes.
gonna throw the Avatar. We're just gonna show that he didn't have all the other elements. Then
Yeah.
he just had airbend.
Well, if technically we'll speak of the Avatar's technically a load of different strong benders throughout history.
Exactly.
In one. So.
Yeah, but, like, even taking away the Avatar thing, he stopping a volcano by himself. That's kind of beastly.
Oh, no, yeah.
And then when you throw the Avatar glass on that just makes it all the better.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it without it because he doesn't. He does all of that without the ability of
Yeah.
calling upon audio. If he did that, if he just Avatar stated it, that would took him like 2 seconds.
That was
Even though Roku couldn't do that.
Well,
Roku does the exact same thing.
Well, not necessarily. Roku could do that because technically Aang is Roku.
And at the same time, Aang wasn't choking on volcanic ash.
True.
Yeah, so it was a harsher
I mean,
environment.
he couldn't really airbend the volcanic ash out of his throat. So, I mean, if he could, that'd be great. But, he didn't. So, he died, and he was kind of like preoccupied with his friend that, decided to betray him. So, I mean, airbending ash out of lungs, friend betraying him, volcano about to erupt. You can't juggle 3.
That was what was great about the first season is throughout the entire season, he was just airbending, but you knew he had the capacity to be this. There was this legend of the Avatar that was going on in the background. Yeah. And it just added this wonder to it. That's what was great about the world itself, because it spent the whole time just building the world, and the world was so rich, and there were so many different kinds of people were living in certain places, and you got to meet all of that.
That's kind of why I didn't like the first season of Korra, because what they kind of did was almost the opposite, where Korra comes into season 1 already knowing how to fire, earth, and water bend, and the world itself, though the world is still taken from Aang's story, so there's not much more to take with it. But as a result, they should have brought the characters up, which they didn't. Or she comes in as a hothead who because I can't learn because I can't learn airbending, let me smash stuff, let me yell at people till I get my point across. It's like, miss, that's not how you airbend.
The reason why Aang's story works when you see him going through learning all the elements, is because he has this thing that he has to aim to get to. He has to learn all the elements to fight the fire.
There's peril there.
There's peril there. There is no peril
in Korra.
Exactly.
For her life.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I don't get why she's so angry. Why is she so angry about that then?
She's so angry because
she can just chill. It's like, okay, I can't learn today. You know what, Tenzin? I'm gonna just go catch a break. I'm gonna rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Okay.
Imagine you're the Avatar.
Yeah.
That comes after that Avatar.
Yeah.
That learns all the elements in a year.
Okay. Yeah.
He learns them all in a year, and he masters it all.
Here's the thing. This is the thing that I would say about season 1.
She goes from a child to what? She's like at least 16
Yeah.
to 18.
They run straight to the point.
Yeah. And she hasn't learned airbending
I
yet.
would just spirit world and chat to him.
See, here's the thing.
Spirit world, though.
But you see, here's the thing,
I would have
right?
tried to train.
Just follow it, right? The thing. Here's the
hard
thing.
to meditate.
Just let me talk. The thing, right, with Legend of Korra, the first season, right? Because it's not really. I get why they did something because they only planned just for season 1, so it was just supposed to be that. Because they treat it like it's an OVA, like an anime, right? It's just a little bit of extra, and they're not supposed to go around the entire world learning about all the things and whatever. Although we would have loved that. We would have loved to see how all the other nations progressed. Okay, fair enough. But it's just
not a nice character.
yeah, I know you don't really like the character. Of
Season 1, she is quite repulsive.
I disagree. I would say that she grows as a character. She doesn't end the season the way she starts. I agree. The start, she's not that appealing.
Just like Aang doesn't.
No, dude, I like Aang from the get go.
I know Aang
because you like Aang because Aang is
the chillest kid in the world.
He's the chillest kid. He's a goofy-go-lucky child. The whole point is, like I said, Korra is supposed to not be for kids at its heart. The Korra is supposed to be for the fan base that grew up on Avatar, that are about our age or about younger. So they're not going to start off with a child who does all this stuff. And that's the reason why you like Aang, because he's fun.
No. See, here's the difference in these two characters, right? Forget the fact that one's younger and one's older. That's not really a ground to make a point on. But the thing is that Aang, regardless of whether he's a kid or not, he maintains this type of character that he has. His story isn't about growing up necessarily. Although he learns certain kinds of maturity, he still keeps intact in this world that has completely been ravaged, right? In this war-torn world, he keeps intact this type of character, and it was to show his strength. Yeah. He's essentially like the way Naruto was done, like the way Goku's done. You know, doesn't matter what happens to them, doesn't matter what hardships they go through, they keep intact their original. You know, it doesn't. At any time, you can have fun at any time. Exactly.
That's what makes him endearing to.
That's what makes him great. Whilst Korra was dealt completely differently. She's not supposed to be like that. She starts off a negative, and it's supposed to be her growing up into being a more positive character.
But that's just it. That like the reason why I don't get why she's negative, right? Let's take Anne's story for instance. He comes out of an ice ball after being in there for 100 years, after finding out he just become the Avatar at such a young age, which. If you like one of the flashbacks in one of the later episodes, Monk Gyatso actually says they shouldn't have told you at such a young age, but they tell him he runs off like completely like mind shut about what just happened, frees himself into a ball for 100 years. He comes out, all his loved ones dead, his temple ravaged, literally nothing there to remind him of his old time except Appa.
Oh man!
When they go to the air temple, what does he find? The skeleton of the guy that raised him. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's an emotional mind breaker.
I'm having goosebumps just thinking back to that.
That is an emotional mind breaker. So much so that he hits Avatar's state immediately out of sheer rage. All right, that is something that would mess up a child, an adult, anyone for that matter.
That could arguably be one of the greatest bits. I'll let you talk about it.
But that's just it. Then afterwards, you find that he finds semblance almost immediately. He meditates. He calms himself. And he then realizes, back, boom, I still got something to do, because there's still a big bad guy at the end who wants to take over everything, and he's the one responsible for the guy who raised me. Korra, from a young age, was beasting with all three elements: fire, earth, water. Was there anyone to take anything away from her? No. Anyone died near her? No. She was raised, did her thing like a boss. When she comes to Republic City to learn airbending, no immediate danger coming. No long distance danger coming. She doesn't find out about a man on the equalizers until later on in that season. Because we only found out about him through the backstage where it's meant to be some kind of ominous presence surging. But she doesn't know about that. She's completely lackadaisical. She's cool. Just there to learn airbending. What the hell is her problem? Why the hell why is she angry? Why?
I'll say why she's angry. Because she says it throughout the most of the season. She's locked up her entire life.
What do you mean exactly?
She's been locked up.
As in, she's been forced to be.
Because of the season 3 villains that try to kill her.
She was never allowed to go out. She was never allowed to essentially be a child. They raised her to be the Avatar. That's all she ever knew. Yeah. And then she's just angry about that. She's angry about never having.
There's a certain level of aggression. She
knew that she had to be the Avatar, and it's kind of like what Aang did, but Aang ran away. Aang got scared. Aang ran away. That's why this happens, because Aang gets told that he's the Avatar. He gets told that he gets told he's the Avatar. He's afraid of what's going to happen. Yeah. And then he runs away. Korra doesn't run away, but she resents what's happening to her. Like all of them. You even see Roku is sad when he gets taken away, because in all reality, they don't have lives as soon as they become the Avatar. Roku had a life though. Roku went up to like he was, I don't know,
like in his mid-30s, I'd say, when he fully learned all the elements.
No, but he gets told he's the Avatar later. They do the exact same thing with Korra for some random reason. I agree with you. There's no reason why they should do this though. They go and find her parents when she's like 4 or something like that, and they tell her parents.
But then again, it seemed to be a case that she could learn them before they even told her that she was the Avatar. Like,
no. I don't think that was what happened. I think the parents knew, considering she was doing 3 elements.
Yeah, the parents told her that she was, and then
she start off like, "I'm the Avatar."
Yeah, and I'm punching fire this way, stomping water. So I mean, it was a case where like she almost came to herself.
I think the parents went and called up the guys, whoever the Avatar guys are.
I don't think they had phones in the water tribe.
Actually, no. I think what are they called? Is it the White Lotus?
Yeah.
They told the White Lotus, and the reason why, and then it gets worse because she's not fully aware of it. I don't think because
the season 3 guys.
Because you learn that
Red Lotus.
What's his face? Korra's uncle is part of the Red Lotus, and that he's
not part of the Red. Was he part of the Red Lotus?
Yeah.
Oh, he
was part of the Red Lotus, but what he wanted from it was completely different from what they wanted.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to take her and then become a dark avatar and all that stuff and destroy Rava's spirit, whereas they just wanted to kill the. They wanted to kill her.
They wanted no.
They didn't want
to kill her. They just didn't want an avatar.
They didn't want to replace it with something else, and because of that, because of her father being related to Unalaq, then the Red Lotus find out more easily, and then they come and try and take her. But Unalaq decides, nah, mate, I'm not being part of this. Not because he doesn't want to be part of it, because
he also in charge.
Because he wants to get out of it and come back and do something later on. Korra is locked up. That's the main thing. From that moment that happens, she's not allowed. It's weird because then in season 1 she's allowed to go out and ride on her polar bear dog, but I imagine she's heavily.
That's because she went to Republic City to learn with Tenzin, so that's
when she goes to the gates when she's still in the Water Tribe, because all the teachers generally go to her. She doesn't explore. All the teachers go to her.
Yeah.
Like even Roku got to explore. He went to all these places to tell them to be like, can you do this? He did an adventure. Korra never had an adventure, and she's suppressed anger about it.
Yeah,
that's why she's angry.
It's not necessarily. Well, to be fair, I don't think she's angry all the time. I think you're just remembering the negative and not looking at any of the positive. She does have moments where it's like she's not angry all the time when she's pro bending in season 1. You know, she has her moments
because that's
also she learns from the excess of her hubris.
She's free.
She overreacts. Then she realizes, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Then she matures. I'm talking about the first impression she gives us. It's not something I like.
Well, maybe in the first impression, but the first impression doesn't really stick for long then, because she pro bends in like episode 1. No,
it's like
episode 2.
Something's like 3. Where they bump into the ferrets and Mako and Bolin.
I swear they introduced pretty early.
They introduced pro bending, pardon me, and
pro bowling. It's a new presidential campaign.
He becomes a pro
bowling.
But yeah, but they introduced pro bending, but I don't think they introduced her to pro bending until like season 3. They established that is actually like one of the main sports there in Republic City, but I don't think she is introduced to the Five Ferrets. But she does her first pro bending with them.
She hears them over the radio.
Yeah.
She hears about the Fire Ferrets over the radio, and then she goes like episode 2, and then like Tenzin's all like, "Nah, you're not gonna do. It's a mockery of."
That's how it happened. She went to Tenzin to learn.
She rebels. Yeah. She rebels against Tenzin, and then Tenzin realizes that the best way to teach her isn't to. It's also about Tenzin learning to be a
good teacher.
I think, and I think that's the thing about Korra is you say it doesn't have that strong characters. I think it does. I think one of the strongest characters is Tenzin.
Yeah.
I think Tenzin it's even to the fact Tenzin or even all of Aang's children are interesting characters. Maybe I've forgotten her name. His daughter isn't as interesting. Kaya. She isn't as interesting, but Bumi and Tenzin are interesting. I actually think Bumi is the most interesting. Bumi is the oldest. Was born with no bending. Yeah. Can you imagine that?
Is Boomy the oldest?
Yeah, Boomy's the oldest. He was born with no bending.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the son of the Avatar and having no bending?
Yeah.
How and it does all this thing. It teaches you about Aang's children later on.
Yeah. But the thing is, right, with the thing that I also would say that characters in Legend of Korra aren't that strong, but it's not the supporting characters. These are supporting characters that you're saying. Tenzin isn't necessarily of the main, because Team Avatar, although Tenzin does later on. Tenzin later on they do establish him more as like he's part of Team Avatar. But in terms of the three mains, Bolin, Mako, and Korra, they're not. Well, I think Bolin's pretty funny, but I remember in season 1 it felt like they were trying way too hard to replace Sokka.
Yeah.
They're trying way too hard. Like, he gets funny as we go along.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, he just felt like they're trying really hard here. But Marco is just boring.
He's straight up Sasuke at the beginning. He's like, I'm so grumpy, I'm so brooding. Look at my scarf.
Well, what about when he was Nuptuck in all of his the movers?
That's later on. It's hilarious. But at the beginning, it's like yelling exposition. We have two brothers that can't be more different in personality. One's happy, so equalize that. We have one that's grumpy as hell.
What's up with that?
Well, do you know? And Marco, Marco is essentially, because he's fire, he's essentially a kind of replacement for Zuko. He's that.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's not.
He's not because he's not. But Korra is kind of a replacement for Zuko as well, because she's angry all the time and Zuko's angry all the time.
Not necessarily.
Zuko was so angry.
I wouldn't say that.
Zuko was so angry. Can I say one thing? And this made me laugh when I watched it the other day. Is that you can tell when Avatar was made. You can tell exactly the time period that it was made, because it was made when loads of people were being emos, because Zuko says shit like...
I wasn't aware that was a time period.
No, when they were being... Like, when emo was a thing. Like, a big thing with
Still
youths.
a thing?
No,
Okay.
like,
No.
the biggest thing when it branched out.
Okay, alright, go on.
It's when Zuko says, like, why does everything blow up in my face? Like, everything does, and stuff like that. And like May says something to him once where she says like, oh, I don't like the colour orange, it's so terrible. And he goes, you're so cute when you hate everything.
Okay, to be honest, I'm not really gonna say Zuko's emo when his dad burned part of his face off.
Zuko
No. See,
I'm not saying
he's not
Zuko's emo. I'm saying Zuko was this weird sort of, if you can imagine being an emo.
I would be
you
that
would
weird if my
like-
dad burned part of my face off.
For one, saying emo as like is just this negative thing. It just means you're. What does emo mean?
Emotional.
Yeah, it just means you're emotional.
Dad
Yeah,
burned
and he
part of his
should.
face off.
He freaking should, because he's a tortured soul.
Look at his eye.
Zuko-
He fired it right at his eye.
Zuko is arguably the most.
He needs
the most
therapy.
deep. He's probably the deepest character out of everyone. Probably all of Avatar. His story is the most changing, the most life learning.
He has the biggest duality in his story.
Exactly. There's this. His story has the most character progression probably out of anyone, and he's got legitimate problems with his past. He's got legitimate problems with, just life.
I think it's weird how they had the same voice actor in Korra for Zuko.
Oh, Zuko.
Mm.
Well, who was he?
I didn't know the same name.
Wasn't it Arrow who was the same voice actor for Zuko?
Yeah,
Iroh
General
was,
Iroh. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because he's meant to be Zuko's. Like,
Yeah,
grandson.
but it's just
Wasn't he just a son?
His grandson.
it was his grandson. Yeah.
That's why I named
Oh,
him.
damn.
It was his.
I mean, it was a good throwback. I mean, but he was too awesome to be there for me. But it just like it made
He was too awesome.
Iroh was.
He was pretty awesome. Wasn't he? There were so many memes on that YouTube of people putting in stuff like, the bit where he hijacks the plane
Yeah.
and they put over it like, you remember this day as a day you almost called Captain Jack Sparrow.
I wish they gave Iron more screen time, to be honest.
I wish he came back.
He did.
He comes back, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he just stands there, he doesn't do anything. I mean, like, because when he's there, it just makes me think about how the rest of the cast is just not worthy, really.
They're bland characters, and I think maybe it might be a result. It's just
Hold
not.
up, quick question: are we talking about young Iroh, as in Zuko's grandson, or are we talking about old man?
No,
Iroh and
the
Spirit
young
World
one,
Iroh?
General
No.
Iroh.
Cool.
They're both equally awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
No, they are.
They're awesome in different ways. Actually, no.
No, that's
The
Iroh.
original Iroh was bloody.
Yeah, but if anything, he's like ultimate Zen boss. Like
When he
grandson,
gets angry.
yeah, grandson Arrow is active boss. So I mean, it's like there's passive and active, but they're both boss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, General Iroh, the younger one, he was more. He didn't really get angry. He had to do something. He went and did it.
Yeah.
He did the whole Iron Man thing, Iroh Man thing.
Oh, they should have made him a suit.
I wish I saw more of him. To be honest, he was a damn good character.
Mm.
But that's one of the problems in comparison. You can't really say Marco is Zuko.
No.
He's just not. He's just nowhere near that strong of a character.
You know what I didn't like about Marco was that he didn't use his electricity
More
bending more
often,
often. It's just like a last resort type of thing.
Yeah.
When
He uses it against Mingwa, the waterbender lady.
at the last moment.
You'd think any lightning bender would be like, yo,
Pow.
Yeah.
it's just water. Her arms are made of water.
I'm not even that. Oh no, we're out of power at the house. Lightning. We have light. Screw you, light bill.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
even in
Well, he runs that. He works at the electricity place.
it's
even in Avatar, lightning bending was used more or less as a final blow type of thing. It was never used as a
because it was difficult and it was
It was
risky.
difficult. It was risky. It was never used as a I'm gonna do like otherwise everyone would just be like lightning, you dead.
But to be honest, it's only actually really risky only when because if you can just use it, if you do like Azula does it.
because if you hit it in a certain point, you can
Yeah.
kill someone.
No, but that was only when you were redirecting lightning. When you're actually using it, when like the way Azula does it, you straight up shoots lightning, right? It's kind of, I guess, kind of safe. But if someone redirects it, then you're screwed. But besides that, I think it was hard to do, but it just wasn't.
But when you
useful
think about it,
enough.
there was only the Fire Lord, Azula, and Zuko could do it, and Iroh. Well, I should say I'm gonna distinctly separate Grandpa Iroh.
Yeah.
They were the only four that could do it really, and like it just seemed to be a case of almost lineage back then.
Does Grandpa Arrow actually know how to do? I know he knows how to redirect it because he teaches Zuko. Does he actually know how to shoot?
I think he does, but it's a case where because he knows how dangerous it is, he doesn't like to actually do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you rarely see him firebend for that matter. He only I've only seen him once.
Zuko
He
never.
only neutralized the firebending technique when Zuko's uncle challenged him to an Agni Kai, and then after Zuko wins and decides not to murk him, and then the uncle goes to punch him in the back, kick in the back of the head with a fire kick, and he's just like foot extinguish, pushes him.
Damn, that was a good.
He doesn't even use a firebending technique for that. He just grabs the guy's foot and pushes him.
Yeah, what was great about that scene, right? It wasn't, for one, it gave you in depth on how the Fire Nation, the culture, for one, how they settle stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It showed you a legitimate, like, almost fight to the death type scenario. They both took their shirts off and they just went out and just did it.
Did Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, they Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, and it was like a proper martial arts fight. And it also showed the connection between Zuko and Uncle Iroh.
Right. That's why, and even after that, I've only seen him firebend 2 times after that. Once when he was helping Kitara and Aang escape after he got electrocuted by Azula at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And then when he joins the White Lotus, when they take over, I think it's when they retake Ba Sing Se.
Oh, that was
And
brilliant.
then he basically just
just
firebended.
Iroh.
It was during the comet.
Yeah.
Iroh does firebend before as well.
No. He does firebend.
He does the Dragon of the West thing. He does. He breathes fire. He breathes fire against all the Dai Li agents.
Yeah, but again, that's at the end of season 2 when he's helping Katara and Aang escape.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
He's
about.
helping Zuko escape.
No, because
He
Zuko turns against Iroh and joins
I'm
Azula.
talking about when they get taken captured. When Zuko originally gets taken captured, they
shop.
go to have their tea, and then he's all like, "Do you know why they called me the Dragon of the West?" And then Azula's all like,
"You want to know how I
shut
got
up,
these
old man."
scars?"
Like, shut up, old man. I don't have time for your stories. And then he breathes fire at them, and you're just like, "Damn, son."
That's just it though. Like 3 instances where you see him at least harness firebending, and all of them are beastly.
No, but that's not my favorite bit. The favorite bit is when they actually do capture him and he's in jail and he's just like he's doing the bench presses.
Yeah.
Oh my god! No!
And there's the fly, and he, like they give him the food and he's just looking at the fly and they're like.
Catches it.
He's catching it.
when he's just like,
When he's playing dumb,
press
he's
up,
playing
clap.
simple.
Press up, clap. No, like when he takes out the cushion, when he took out the cushion, I was like, oh. Then he jumped up and continued to do one-handed chin-ups. Like, bro, you do even lift.
I thought that was wicked.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
he's a brilliant character. That's the strength of The Last Airbender. Literally all of the characters. I can't think of a bad character in The Last Airbender. Can you? I can't.
No, really.
No.
But in Legend of Korra, I don't.
The list
There
goes
are
on.
too many. There are too many in number.
Yeah, man. It's not necessarily that there's too many in number. It's that the ones that there needs to be priority over their interest.
True,
It's just
yeah.
not there. You know, like Korra is just not. She doesn't feel like a main character. She kind of feels like a main character, but she feels like the type of main character that nobody cares about. You know, she's just a standard naive teenager.
If anything, because even though they're the same word or same phrase, they say she's a protagonist, but she's not the main character. If I'm going to put emphasis on the word, because protagonist obviously that's the blah, like quote unquote main character who's in charge of the story.
Yeah. But
she's not the main in terms of everyone immediately gravitates to her, likes her, follows her. I mean, that's just sub characters and fans as well. She doesn't really hit that kind of point, really.
I'd say one main problem with them extending Legend of Korra from season 1, right, is the way it ended. Because I said previous point that that Korra actually, that she's got character progression, right? She ends it differently than how she starts, and she ends it genuinely a positive character. She ends up with Marco and whatever, but they completely break that image with season 2, because season 2 she just goes on full bitch.
Yeah.
It's just like all of a sudden she's angry with everyone. I hate everyone.
You're on their side now.
Yeah? If you didn't do season 2, Korra would have been fine. We would have, our last image of Korra would have been fine. But no, you ruined it.
I don't like Korra. Okay, because really, again, you got to stop and ask.
Yeah.
I wish Mako would have gone like, okay, you know what? Why are you so angry again? I just don't get that.
At that point, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to argue with her.
He's
He's not going to argue with
coming
her.
from experience.
If she's like getting angry at him, you back the out.
But that's just it. Though.
You don't antagonize her or more. She's angry, and he knows that she's angry, and he knows that's what she does.
What's she angry about?
She's angry about life.
Exactly. But
That's
why?
Korra's issue the entire series.
Yeah.
Is she's angry about
That's
life.
her problem.
No, but do you remember that last episode? During the last episode, was it season 4? They did of Marco looking back on Legend of Korra, and as you see how he was cheating on her, and then going out with the Sami, and then going out with Korra, and then like there was this the love triangles within love triangles. So if you think about it, Korra had the right to be angry at some points. You know, it's like
no, there were times where it was legit.
No, there was legit reasons for her to be angry, and then there was reasons that you were questioning her anger.
Yeah.
Korra at the basis of it all, and I don't want to sound like I'm not sexist in any way.
Too late.
She's a woman, and she's a teenage woman at this point who's angry.
Moving mouse.
Hold on.
Removing any kind of opinion in this conversation. I'm out.
Hold on, go. Say what you say.
She's angry. Nothing's gone her way. Like in the first 2 seasons, she kind of luckily defeats Amon, because she doesn't magically get airbending taken away from her.
Yeah.
She only defeats Vaatu out of because of Janora's magical spirity abilities.
Yeah.
To bring Raven back.
Yeah, true.
Nothing ever goes her way. Nothing. She never wins on her own merits.
But the thing is, right, I understand if that made her pissed off later on.
But she's not good at it.
But it's not later on. It's beginning season 2.
Yeah.
You know, and she's complaining over stuff that just chill. Just calm the hell down. It's not a big deal.
I know it does all this stuff because I think the thing that Korra does kind of well is it then later on explains everything. Like it explains her being captured, and it explains her being locked up and not being able to think, and why she's angry about that. It explains why she's angry because she's constantly afraid, and it explains that in season 4. She's afraid of failing. She's afraid of all these people that have damaged her.
Yeah.
Like Amon, brutally damaged her. Vaatu,
Slap the avatar out of her.
He's
like, I'm gonna slap you so hard your pop's life is gonna feel it. 20
That is
minutes
a brilliant way of putting it.
I'm gonna slap you so hard the first avatar's gonna feel it.
He slaps her. He basically reboots her.
Yeah.
In safe mode,
and she's terrible. She's even, you can see in season 4 she's terrible. She's not anywhere near as good as she was. Then Amon destroys her even more. Her entire progression is, yes, I agree with you, she's stupidly angry for no reason at the beginning of everything. She's angry a bit too much.
Yeah.
But she's angry because nothing's ever gone her way.
The thing is, right, and like I get she's got character progression, but it's not consistent. It's not like Zuko's character progression. It's constantly supposed to lead up to the next emotional struggle and the next one and the next one. But this one, with Legend of Korra, every season doesn't. It almost like they don't really fit
It starts
all
again,
that well.
almost. It starts again like at
Yeah.
the beginning, like season 1 angry then happy, season 2 angry then
Then
happy,
yeah,
season
it
3
doesn't need
angry
that.
then happy, season 4 damaged then happy.
Yeah, see, the thing is that the damage part when she's going through that emotional struggle at the beginning of season 4, I thought that was really well done.
Yeah,
right.
because that actually linked to the past season.
Yeah, that
that's
was
the only
fine.
that's the only reason I had some form of semblance.
Exactly, that was the attempt at fixing that problem. But this later on, well, not later on, but as a whole, it doesn't fit.
Season 1 to 2 and season 2 to 3 didn't feel right.
Yeah.
See, I disagree. I think season 2 to 4, they all link, and they all link fairly well. Season 1 is the one season that's just like, why? Why? If you were to, of course, they couldn't have started off with season 2 because then they would have never have got a new season because everyone would have hated it and everyone would have been like, and they can't start. But season 2, I've said this before. Season 2 goes spirits, leads to harmonic conversion, leads to the airbenders being reborn, leads to the Red Lotus, leads to the Earth Queen getting killed, leads to Kuvira rising up to power.
That's not what we're talking. We're not talking about the events of the world. The events of the world, that's easy to do. You know, that's just saying. That's just thinking of, okay, this happened. Now, where would this lead? You know, in real life. You know, that's not hard to do. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the character progression. You know, right? It's not consistent from season 2 and season 3. They try and fix it with the way she's acting in season 4, with her emotional struggle. She's looking back at all the times and whatever.
Because that's actually an emotional struggle.
But
we've seen the experience with her.
Yeah, and that is fine. But if we still look at both season 2 and season 3, that doesn't work. Season 1 then season 2, that doesn't work either. You know, there's
It really doesn't.
there's a consistency problem with her character, and it's like like you said, right? She starts off angry, then she ends happy, and then angry and happy again. How does that make sense? You completely broken the message of that character.
I thought it was the villains that was the problem. I thought the villains didn't have maybe Kuvira, but the villains didn't have that much peril like you were talking about before. Like they weren't that much of a threat, really. Like they weren't that big.
Nah, I disagree for season 3. The other ones, I kind of agree with you.
But
I don't really like Kuvira.
Even the ones in season 3, I didn't get those villains. I mean, like I think we were talking about it before. I like that guy who got the airbending. I don't get that guy. I don't get how that worked at all. I mean, okay, this guy's a genius, but how did he know how to airbend
the thing
amazingly?
Is, they hinted at he seemed like he really studied airbending, even though he was someone without.
Why? He was in jail.
I get that, but that's a entirely different argument together. The fact is, if we just look at the fact that he studied airbending, like before he was in jail or whatever, right? Because you know stuff about airbending that Tenzin doesn't bring up. Well, Tenzin probably knows, but he doesn't bring up, right?
That's just it. Though. Why would he want to learn about stuff that he isn't a bender?
There's only how many airbenders in the world, and airbending's been dead for how many years, and this guy knows about it.
The thing is that the Red Lotus is a splinter group from the White Lotus. They weren't like this thing that existed coherently with the White Lotus.
Yeah.
They splintered off, so they were all part of the White Lotus originally.
So that could have been part of the research.
That was the thing, and I think that he knew Aang, and all these people. They never explicitly mentioned it. I've heard these rumors that him and Aang were sort of closely, like he would learn teachings and stuff from all sorts of people, and yeah, I do think it's ridiculous that he's just like, oh, I've got airbending, boom, I'm amazing.
And not necessarily the case, because they did say, right, that he's extremely dangerous from before. We don't know how he was dangerous, because he wasn't a bender, you know, and he was fighting people on the level of benders. They said,
I'm just saying equalist. If he knew cheat blocking, boom.
Yeah, but exactly
that,
right. Stuff like that. He can be dangerous, but the thing is, this all comes down to like all the martial arts stuff that they know, all the way that they learn how to bend and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he could be dangerous in that sense, in a fighting combat sense. Maybe not necessarily that he bends, but he knows how to deal with benders. He studied benders. He knows how to fight benders. So he probably studied airbenders. He knows how they work. He knows how they move. So the idea that he's discovered that he's got airbending, and he's in solitary confinement, or a space that he can practice as much as he wants. Right? Yeah. The stuff that he already kind of knows about from studying benders before.
Fair
right?
enough.
The moment when he suddenly plans out how he's going to escape, it's quite legitimate if you really think about it. He's already a dangerous person. Now he's a dangerous person with bending. So he's just multiplied to such an extent.
If anything, my question is, what would they have actually done once they killed Korra? Because it just
what was their plan? I can't remember.
It was chaos. It's the Joker's plan.
Their plan was to create a new order. They wanted chaos, and I think I've had this before. Where they wanted chaos because they wanted it to go back to a dog-eat-dog world.
They wanted freedom. And let's say they weren't accounting for chaos, but because obviously you can't have.
I saw they kind of.
Here's the thing:
if they exhibition, that's just bloody terrible.
They were saying how the Avatar is this unnaturally strong thing, and no matter what, if the Avatar decides something's going to happen, it happens, and it's this unnatural. It's essentially the super weapon of the world in Avatar until they bring out the super weapon.
We'll go to that later.
Yeah, they do that, and they don't want that because it's unbalanced. They think there isn't balance. They think the Avatar's just like, I want this. The Avatar's like, I'm going to open the spirit world.
Yeah.
So they open the spirit world.
But see, that's what I'm saying, right? Is that they don't want chaos because they want balance, but their version of balance, their version of balance isn't the same. They think their version of balance comes from freedom. They're freedom fighters. They try and get rid of all the governments. That's why they kill the queen. You know, they don't want anyone telling anyone what to do, so everyone just does whatever they want. Yeah. But what they don't account for is the chaos that brings. Because really, in humankind, we can't really have freedom.
Even then, though, like even if they killed the Avatar, there'd still be a massive amount of imbalance because you got people that can't bend.
Yeah.
So that's like still a case where if the Avatar can't do it, then you got people that can bend, saying whatever happens.
Yeah,
and non-benders can't do anything about it.
That's what I was saying. Their warped sense of what they want. They want this player, this piece out of the picture, so that they can decide.
It just seems
they can decide. They can create the world that they want. They want to create a new world, and it's selfish of them to want to do that.
It's Dark Knight Joker.
It would be what they want. They'll be the top dogs.
Nah, it's not Joker, because Joker legitimately he says he wants chaos.
He doesn't want anything out of it.
He doesn't want anyone. Doesn't want any lovey-dovey freedom. He wants chaos. He wants the world to burn. Is what he wants, right? But these guys, they want their idea of what freedom isn't the reality of what freedom is.
I wouldn't go as far as say he wanted to watch the world burn. That's what Michael Caine, Alfred said. He said some men just want to watch the world burn. What he says is, upset the established order and bring chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. Think about chaos, it's fair. That's actually what he says that's what he says to Harvey Dent that makes him go Two-Face. When he says, chaos is fair.
Yeah.
And he's an agent of chaos.
Yeah.
So through that kind of rationale, I wouldn't say it's exact, but it kind of mirrors what
it's a bit similar.
The Red Lotus guys want to do.
But yeah, back to the point.
Freedom, chaos.
There's a little bit of a Batman in there. Yeah. Throw that in there. Nice.
Thank you. I try.
But yeah, I'd say season 3 bad guys were pretty strong in their goal. I'd say probably among the strongest villains, maybe in all of Avatar. You know, they had a way of thinking, which is a real life way of thinking. People think like this in real life.
Yeah. If anything, that's the season that made things really real.
Yeah, and what was his name? The airbender? I forget his name. Yeah, Zahir. I really liked his lines. I thought the first 2 episodes where he's just speaking all philosophical. Yeah. I was like, yeah, man, those lines are brilliant.
No, I like the characters. I mean, I like the other two, the waterbender and the
Lava.
Yeah, I mean, I liked them as like people. They had like
they're interesting.
They had character development, and you can see they had backstories and stuff.
Yeah. And
you can see like, especially when you meet them, you meet him again, the airbender in season 4.
Yeah, when he comes back. Yeah.
You can see that they have like good development more than any of the other villains that you've met.
But your original statement was that there's no peril.
Yeah, but there is no.
There is.
There's like.
I disagree. There is peril.
No. I think what you mean. Right, actually, no. I'll let you say what you mean. Go on.
No, what I meant was like I don't think that there is like a strong enough peril driving Korra as a character. I mean, like.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like, there's always these type of people coming after her. but I don't think there's this strong enough peril for the world. I think okay, there is Kavira at the end, but I don't think
strong enough peril for the world. It's the strongest one in my opinion. It's the worst season, but it's season 2.
See. What Andrew means.
Things are gonna go down.
What Andrew means, right, is in comparison to the Last Airbender, the entire world from day one is in deep shit. There's a legitimate problem here.
I mean, because it's like things are going to happen. It's things that it's like she has to prevent something, and it may happen, and it's going.
There's a build up to it.
It's like it could happen, but it doesn't. You know, it's like okay, and she doesn't always succeed, and she always needs her help, and she'd always like, but like I want something bad to happen. I mean, like kill the freaking snow dog thing. Like no one cares about that. You know, something. Nothing happened to it. Nothing real peril. I mean, like when Upper got kidnapped for that arc. I mean, like freaking.
That was a powerful.
Some really peril. That's what I mean. Like there's no peril in.
You know what? I think what you mean, right? I think what you mean is we as an audience don't feel the peril.
No, I don't feel nothing for these characters. I mean, like there's no
emotional, there's no connection with us, the audience, and these characters. No. Like there's kind of a connection. I mean, it's very hard for you to be void of any kind of connection with the characters if you're watching pretty much anything, right? But with the way Last Airbender does it, it's rich.
It made you invested.
Yeah, it felt like I'm in Team Avatar. You know, you're going around these people, you're having a proper adventure. Yeah. Whereas these lot, not really. You know, it's kind of, it's void of this of essential emotion.
That's what we said.
Yeah,
they're just small stories.
And
they're small stories. They have a beginning and they have a coherent end to them. There's no, like, in each season of Avatar, Last Airbender, they had a wrap up towards the end, but it wasn't like, okay, this is done. Like, he went to the Northern Water Tribe, he learnt waterbending, something went down, he gets it. I can't remember exactly what happens at the end. I think he ends up. They fly away. They go back on. I think
they stay at the end of the first season. They stay at Water Tribe, and in the beginning of second season, they're at the Water Tribe.
They're sailing away.
But they're sailing away.
Yeah, and then season 2, they go to Blossom Say, and then stuff like that happens.
So they went to Omashu first.
But Omashu was in season 1.
They go to Omashu in season 2 to go to get King Boomy to teach him earthbending, and then King Boomy's all like
gets all philosophical before they attack.
Yeah, but the whole series works because it has that one final thing, that definite peril that no one's like, at no point does Roku go take the firebender out before the comet. Well, he does actually. He says you must defeat him before the comet arrives.
Yeah.
But he's not like...
No. Roku doesn't say that.
He does.
Because Roku doesn't know that. They find out about the comet from the library.
Yeah.
No, they don't. They find out about the eclipse through the library.
You're right, no, because it is Sozin's coming.
Sozin's
and he knows, yeah,
and
you're
he
right.
knows it's coming, and he brings Aaron
to
the fire temple to be like, yo, this is going to happen. Stop it before it happens, because last time it happened, your people got wiped out.
No, they find out from the library the day of the eclipse,
the day of the Black Sun,
which is the day they need to
invade. And nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
That was they didn't. The thing is, Sozin didn't know. Not Sozin. Roku doesn't know about that.
Yeah.
Roku's just like, you have to master all the elements, and you have to take him down before the comet comes, because if the comet comes, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
And they do have a bad time because it's not an easy fight for him to win. He gets down. He gets.
Yeah, he has to go full Avatar.
He gets battered by.
Even then, he only really goes full Avatar after getting his chiropractic done. After he gets smacked into the walls, like crack, bow, I'm back online. Would you like to reinstall Avatar EXE?
He never goes back. So as soon as the lightning moment happens, he doesn't ever go into the Avatar state again. No.
What do you mean?
Until that moment.
Oh yeah. Because
the whole of season 3, there is no Avatar state.
There's only one point where it's touched upon where Katara's healing is back at the beginning, and that's when he realizes what actually happened to him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't actually touch Avatar state till he goes back.
And the whole point is that it hits him. And he does slightly go into Avatar state when Katara's healing him. Because he...
Yeah, but that's what they're trying to get the energy out of the back. Yeah. That's what they're trying to find out what actually happened to him.
But, yeah. We can all agree Avatar's miles better than Korra.
Lord of Mercy.
Miles better than Korra.
Yeah.
It has
So.
But I do think we're gonna have a generation of kids who love Korra.
More
that's
than
a
the
shock.
original.
Not more
Because they haven't seen it.
because they haven't seen it. You have
Because
to go
you're children.
back. Because they will go back and they will go back and then they will learn about it, but it'll be a completely different feel.
Yeah.
The thing
If
is,
anything,
we're going.
That's a sad thought.
We're going
I feel
from
bad for them.
growing up
Yeah.
with Korra, well, not Korra, growing up with Avatar, Last Airbender, growing up with Aang, growing up with the gang and all that, and seeing them go, and then there's all these people who are like, I do think Korra's a bad thing as well, because I think you could like it, but you'd be like, alright, this is it, I'm fine with this, and all that. And if you did hear about the last Airbender, you might go into it thinking, well, it's just going to be narrative, like one story after the other.
Yeah.
And it's not. And I think it's going to put people off.
But that's the thing. That's because the advantage that the original has is that it's longer. You know, it goes on for a hell of a lot more episodes. Whereas the Legend of Korra, they're short seasons, so they have to get to the point.
If anything, though, I think Callum has a point where he said some kids are gonna love Korra and they're gonna be so about Aang. That's the same way we love Aang, but are so about Korra.
Well, I say because there's just saying that, and then there's backing up why. We have reasons. We have legitimate reasons why we dislike this character.
Yeah, but
It's a generation thing.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I don't
though,
think so, because I was open to Korra and I liked season 1,
the thing is, though,
but it just got bad.
we were spoiled because with Aang we had a real good story.
Yeah.
So we went into Korra. Even if you were open-minded, you had at least 2 or 3 bars set in your head from the standard that Aang set.
In terms of it never reaching that level, then yeah, it had a massive disadvantage of coming after we said the Last Airbender. It's kind of like when Gerard leaves Liverpool, that is going to be someone else. It's like, oh, he's got a massive disadvantage now. He's after Gerard.
I have faith in him.
Yeah, but enough about football.
Yeah.
Let's bring it. Sorry, nerds. We're back. We're back. All right, Callum.
The thing is that, what was I going to say? Korra is, they're going to get brought up in Korra.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, this is what I was going to say. I was going to say, we're 4 people who all strongly agree that Avatar Last Airbender is far superior to Thing.
Agreed.
I've seen YouTube videos of people who say that they've watched Last Airbender, who are still absolutely madly adore Korra.
Well, why didn't they like it more?
They don't. I'm not saying they like it.
But
more.
they like it.
We are the guys. We sat down and watched Korra, but we were never like, this is the shit. This thing's amazing and stuff. There are people. If you type Korra in, you will see a ton of people live watch it. And they will lose their they love everything about it. I never sat down in an episode of Korra and went, oh my god, when something amazing happened. I was like,
just imagine kind of there just going, oh my god,
like,
what happened?
When by far my favourite moment, one of my favourite moments in Avatar Last Airbender is when they go and they're like, we've had enough of this Earth Kingdom bullshit. We're gonna go to the thing, and They didn't intend to fight everyone there, but they're like, okay, we're gonna go talk to the Earth King. Nothing's stopping us. They get attacked, and they're like, nah, mate, we're gonna go see the Earth King. We're gonna destroy.
They just walk in.
4 kids.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely decimate like half an army.
Yeah.
And it just shows you the raw power of these people. Nothing ever happens like that in Korra.
Keyword godlike.
Yeah. Nothing ever happens.
I disagree, but let's move past.
What do you mean?
Godlike. Go on.
It was
Like, nothing happens
we'll say
like that. Nothing happens in Korra. They fight a mecha suit.
If I may, let's just transition that to season 4 discussion. Alright, season 4 was straight up, Kavira was basically operating using a freaking Tesseract. It was a goddamn Tesseract. You're harnessing power from another dimension. Tesseract. You then try and harness that into a weapon, Tesseract, and it's so powerful it splits a hole into another dimension, Tesseract.
That is so true.
It is a goddamn Tesseract. And that for me, I'm like, no.
I didn't think Kuvera was all that great a character.
No, sure.
She wasn't all that great of a villain. Although, that being said, there was one bit that I like to touch upon in season 4, which made me think this is the evolution of the Last Airbender. This is when it really hit me how far Avatar has come is the fight between Kuvira and what's
not Sue.
her sister.
Her sister, yeah. Toph's other daughter.
Man, we gotta remember, or else we look bad.
Why?
No.
What?
No.
Was that her name?
The Sue who is the chief.
Yeah.
And who is she? Oh no,
We gotta remember.
This is
We
actually-
gotta remember.
No, you know what? That just shows how much they gravitated for us.
Yeah.
I mean, the fight scene, we remember the fight scene.
Yeah, no, the fight
characters.
scene was bloody brilliant.
Especially
you know?
with the metal bending fight scene.
Yeah, the metal bending fight scene, because it wasn't. It felt like, because what metal is actually, is condensed earth, and more emphasizing the fact that more emphasizing the idea of metal just being condensed earth. Whereas an earth bending fight would be massive and explosive, and then bringing up massive chunks of earth up and throwing at each other and stuff like that. While this was metal bending, this was all more like
More intricate.
more small types of bits of metal that they're throwing about each other and making armor bits out of.
Talking about that, how did they make that mech suit? The
How
giant
did
one.
they made it
They
out
made
of
it out of
platinum?
the domes.
Yeah.
They made it out of platinum. They built
They
it
made it out of
old
the
school.
domes.
They
the
made it out of the
shield.
domes.
Yeah.
But how did they make it?
They built it like it was like standard old school building.
Because if they
didn't
can't
metal-
bend platinum,
Yeah, see, but they're
How-
not bending it.
Huh?
They're not bending it.
They have
how
plasma
did they
clothes.
make it then?
They built it like we, as mortals, would build shit.
How did they make it? Okay, how did they make it without anyone else knowing they made it? Something that big,
That's actually not that
without
hard.
without
It's still
Julie
underground.
or anyone else
They're
knowing
in
they made it.
Earth Kingdom territory.
Basically,
Or
Earth
Empire.
Basically, what they
territory.
do, right, is anytime someone comes over, they just cover up for like a car.
Something that big.
So we cover up, and just look at them as they walk
But
past.
no one's coming over. No one's coming over. No one's going into Earth Empire territory.
No one.
No one. Like no one goes into the Fire Nation.
Why did you stop talking?
Su Yin.
No,
Su Yin.
Su Yin's is the daughter who's in charge of the oh, bloody
It was not her name. Was not
It's
Su
not
Lin.
her. It's Lin Beifong.
yeah.
It's Lin.
Is it Lin Bevo?
It's Lin.
Lynn's one sister. Su Yin's the one who's in charge of.
Sue Beifong.
Su's the other one.
Yeah.
Sue is
Her
the.
full name is Su
Sue
Yin
is
though.
grumpy, more like.
I
Toph.
get that.
I said that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lin is the sister in
The free flowing cool.
yeah.
Okay. All
He
right.
has the
yeah.
flower
Yeah,
petals.
we
Yeah.
finally
Or
got
is it
that.
the other
All
way
right,
around?
but back to what you
I
were
can't
saying.
remember. It's the other way around.
Actually, no, wait, no.
We
Lin
accept
is the
that.
grumpy one. Su
Yeah.
Yin is the
Su
cool.
Yin's the other
It's
one,
cool,
yeah, it's
safe.
the other way
Oh
around.
yeah, we could just say that's the impression that Korra gave us. You know,
But we confused the two
still
sisters.
remember the names.
Yeah.
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 Su
Su Yin.
Yin's the
Yeah,
chill
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Lin
Right.
is the angry one.
We want to say what's called Su, what's called Yin.
If anything, guys, that just shows how much those characters gravitated to us.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, we remember like Sokka, Katara, Toph.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, but you remember Korra, Mako, Bolin, Asami. They're not the issues.
All right, no, the
You
side
know,
characters.
the side
But
characters.
remember the side
You're
characters.
You were naming, and I'm sorry, I have to bring this up now. You were calling the guy that Zuko fights in the Agni Kai his uncle. It wasn't. It was General Zhao.
Yeah, it wasn't about
Is
It wasn't his uncle.
thought it was his uncle.
No, it's
No.
General Zhao.
General Zhao.
General Zhao.
General Zhao.
General Zhao.
Ah, cha-cha.
The Moon Slayer. I love that. That was one of my favourite bits actually from Korra when they go to the little prison and then just Zhao's there going, "I am Zhao the Conqueror, Moon Slayer," and he's just trapped in prison for 100 years. It's just like little.
It wasn't
throwbacks.
100 years.
Well, however many years it is between it, a long time. Let's say that.
Hold on.
And grew up, died.
Wait, hold on.
I killed the moon. Did you ever kill the moon?
I swear he died at the end. Though.
No, the spirits take him. The spirit, the
Oh, yeah,
the
the
spirit
spirit
takes
him.
gets
Yeah.
him up, and Zuko's even like, "Dude, take my hand."
Yeah, well, I thought the spirit killed him.
No, they drag him into the spirit world and they
Yeah.
imprison him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, all right. We're kind of reaching around the end. So
No.
let's talk about.
Okay.
Let's talk
The
about. No, let's talk. No,
Oh no, you want to make one more last
we
one?
talked about the little Jimmy stories that they did for Avatar.
I don't remember them. I don't think I
I
saw
actually
them.
like them. They were actually quite nice.
Yeah, they were. It's just like really short stories, and they were really well animated and really well done for something that was, I don't know.
I think I might look back at those and
Yeah.
try and find them.
Yeah, I need to rewatch those.
Hmm.
They're just little. They were like the kid things. They were like for the kids.
Wait, they made a game out of that, didn't they? A DS game.
I think so.
They made terrible.
It was pretty good actually. I remember that one because it was chibi. It went for the different kind of art style. Yeah, which just it added a lot more to the game itself, the appeal of the game. And I think it just worked a lot better. This isn't about games. It's TV film.
I mean, I think my favorite one about it was the bending one because you got to even in that as chibi form you see how amazing Toph was at bending.
I love Toph. She's a beast.
Yeah. My girlfriend was just like, I love Toph.
Even seeing her in season 4, I was just like, yes, she's back.
She doesn't do anything in it though.
To be honest,
she does like one like big ground rumbly stomp
She's not meant to.
No, literally all she needed to do was she put Kavira in her place with one line. What was it say? Like you're a disgrace to. Just looked at her without looking at her. Just pointed at her because she's blind. He just went, "You're a disgrace." That was awesome.
Yeah. She doesn't need to do anything. I mean, if she really wanted to get in the middle of the fight, she would have ended it very quickly.
That's another thing that that was one of the problems with Korra. It wasn't a problem, but it was as a result of its problems. Is that the main thing that we really got hyped about was whenever they announced an original cast member coming back.
Yeah.
We got hyped about Zuko.
Yeah, when Zuko was there, I was like,
Zuko. We got hyped about Zuko, but he did nothing.
Yeah, he didn't really do anything.
He fought a guy whose dragon did more stuff than he did.
The dragon was cool though.
Dude,
what a dragon did.
Because again, those characters aren't meant to do anything big.
I know.
Yeah, they weren't.
We know they weren't meant to, but we all wanted them to.
If anything, I love Toph when she had that line to Kavira. I love that line with Zuko when they go to like find out if the explosion lady is still in a prison. It's like, you know, I hired one of those guys to have the old avatar. It didn't work. Yeah. that for me was just like, yeah, I like you, man. Reminiscence. But yeah, let's move on to
It's gonna be good.
I'm gonna call him M. Night Bumbleclap because quite frankly, you know.
Let's just first establish that we are not the first people to rant about the last Airbender movie,
and we will not be the last.
We probably won't be. This is probably gonna go on for a very long time.
Actually, let's start about the movie with the trailer when it first announced. Remember we were looking at it before.
Oh man!
When you first saw the trailer for the movie, you looked at it with an open mind.
That's the problem. We didn't open it with an open mind. That was our problem. We looked at it completely optimistic, which was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Because if he was going around doing a bunch of martial arts stuff, there was no airbending going on, and we were like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome!"
And you would have realized that he was actually white. Okay.
I don't mind so much that.
I didn't mind that he was white. But
I do.
Like I said, I did mind that he was at the air temples when the Fire Nation was attacking in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's my only. I was like, this is wrong. In hindsight, looking back on it, I was like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong on so many levels. He's not there. He's in an iceberg.
I forgave that because it was just a trailer.
I
It was a trailer.
Trailers do stuff
It
like
was
that
a
all the
trailer
time.
showing us something that just never happened and was like...
Trailers
Yeah,
are
but
doing that
that's
more
just
and
it.
more these days.
In my, like, I just don't get like this. First of all, the logic. All right, with some movies, they're basically making a story out of thin air. So when it comes to questioning the narrative, the plot, what happens here and there, it's easy to point out the problems, potholes, and all that kind of business. When you have 60 episodes of script to work with, how do you mess that up? Like, how on, like, I cannot even begin to fathom how you can, like, I don't know how many hours worth of show they had to work with to condense, and they had the audacity to think they're gonna make three movies. Like, if I can, I want to go back in time and slap man for thinking, hey,
They thought they were gonna make 3 movies.
We did a good job. All right.
They thought they were going to make 3 movies. They thought they were going to make 3 movies because there's 3 books. That's why they thought they were going to make 3 movies.
I thought we were gonna make
but the
4
thing-
and split this last one into 2 parts.
They want to make a
Did
Legend
they
of
think
Korra film.
that?
Have you heard? They want to make a Legend of Korra film. And I think M. Night's coming back.
Yeah, that's about that.
Oh
Okay,
god,
you know what,
audience,
you know
if you
what,
could
you
see
know
Jerome's face
You
right
know
now.
what? You know what? All
No,
right.
no, you're just saying that.
No,
I'm
no.
saying we're dead serious.
Yeah, I've heard rumors about it.
And he's coming back.
Yeah.
Why?
Where is it being filmed? Because I need to go find Shyamalan and kill him now. He's not like, I'm sorry, but
You don't need to listen. Why wait until it's being filmed? Just go kill him now.
fine. I'll
Get him now.
Yeah, you know what? I'll
We do not, by the way, people. We do not endorse killing people on the show. We don't endorse killing.
I'm acting as an
directors.
I'm acting as an independent party here. Right? I'm not implicating Munchkin T, well done, or Virtual Dave at all. This is my vendetta with M. Night Bumbleclap. I refuse to say his actual name because, quite frankly, he has completely destroyed what was awesome TV watching.
He hasn't destroyed it though.
No. But he hasn't destroyed it. He hasn't ruined
film.
anything. He's
destroyed
his
my
own
viewing
thing.
experience
He
of
destroyed
film.
his chance at it being good.
you
That's
know-
what he destroyed.
Think about
Ignore it.
That's
Is what
what
you
I'm
can do.
saying. Think about how massively explosive the trailer was. Like when you thought about it optimistically, but how high were you thinking it's going to be awesome?
Yeah, I was hyped. I was so hyped.
I think that about a lot of things.
I was so hyped. I was a
single
child.
trailer where I don't. I think that about a lot of films. I was really hyped about the last Harry Potter films. Worst film ever.
Fair enough.
Films ever, in my opinion.
Dude, you have
We'll
no
talk about that in later.
You have no idea how much I procrastinated doing actual school and uni work to watch the Avatar TV series. Like I wasted so much of my time that I could do something productive watching that. So any kind of time when I saw the movie coming, like this could blow my mind, and I'm gonna download it legally, illegally, however I can to watch it over and over again.
We do not endorse any kind of illegal piracy.
Loudmouth Jay is again acting as an independent party.
Yes.
The other three podcasters have no implications in my actions whatsoever. Anyways, a couple of problems I had with the movie. Okay, I'm just gonna say this as calmly as I can in a succinct manner, just to start. One, okay, fuck the casting. Okay, let's go say this right clear. Like that's just my first problem. The casting was absolutely abysmal.
It was
because for some reason they were under the impression that they were white Inuits. No.
No, not just white Inuits. Only 3 white.
Yeah,
all the rest of them are Inuits.
Isn't that weird? Wouldn't from that reasoning, wouldn't they be held as outcasts and sacrificed? How you saying? Okay.
We must kill the albino Namekians.
Yes. No. But yeah. Alright, that's my point one. Point two, the script and like just the actors by that choice was even worse. For one, like we know like Sokka and Katara are meant to be like two of the most memorable characters in that show because obviously they're part of the team Avatar. Yeah. So they're meant to have a personality that's boisterous, and because people who have watched the TV animated series, they know exactly how they are. They were meant to fill those boots and then some for the movie because this is big screen expansion, and for that all it is Katara, like just sounding like you know what Katara sounded like the way the Ember Island players portrayed Katara in that third season. Like, not even that. Even like in that episode, the way they play Katara, she had more of a personality than movie Katara.
Yeah,
like that film. And Sokka was such a wet piece of bread.
You know. I think the basis of the problem in the film is right. It's because I could tell they tried, right? I can tell that they tried. I know you're giving me a look, but they tried, and I tell you their main problem, the way they started off, right, is they thought we need to make this serious. You know, this needs to be an epic. This needs to be like Apocalypse Now type shit. This needs to be
not Apocalypse Now.
Okay, well,
basically you're saying they had a narration with like text, I think, at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that means
hey, let's read
backstory means that this is going to be an epic thing.
They tried so hard.
A map and someone talking. They kind of tried to go Lord of the Rings Galadriel.
Yeah. That's the problem. Is they tried to make it an epic, a serious epic like Lord of the Rings or whatever, right? But Avatar's not that. It's not that. It's its own thing, and it works bloody well the way it is. Because like we said before, right? The character of Aang, his whole thing is that he's trying to not be as serious all the bloody time. But Aang in the film, nah, he's serious all the bloody time, and he's lame.
You know what's worse? You just said it twice. Aang. Why do they call him Aang? What the f*** is that? His name is Aang. And then to top that off, he says, oh, the monk's name is Aang. I'm called Aang. Aang. Are you a sound effect for a gong? No, you're not. Your name's Aang, fam. Your name is Aang.
It's a sound effect for a dog.
My God, damn. That peeved me off. And it's like, they didn't even speak to him like, they spoke to him as almost he was in the third person. They didn't actually say, like, they didn't say, hey dude, why are you in the ball? I was like, can I call you, like, what's your name? the monks name me Ang. Well,
just say my name is Ark.
like that's my,
It's bloody. It's just a simple shit.
no, like,
My name is Ark.
No.
The monk's name is Ark.
It's like what's
My
your
name is
no,
Ark.
no. What do they call you? Ang. One word. An easy pronunciation, but they got that wrong. We'll get to
They
that.
got all the names wrong.
They even got. Are you the Avatar Arm?
Oh yeah.
Oh
God,
man,
please,
that was so bad.
stop.
You know the worst one, right? Is when I think when they free the Earthbenders, which we'll get back to later. But when they free the Earthbenders, afterwards it's like they plan out this quest that they're supposed to go on, right, to save a bunch of other villages and whatever, which isn't what actually happens in the show. They don't make that plan. They just go around and make pit stops, and they just on the way just end up helping people. But it's like this part, it was soccer. What was it he called himself? Soca or something.
That's a type of West Indian music. Oh, sorry.
Continue, Taha.
But I don't know if I can. But yeah, he said something like, stuff like, they planned out. He's saying, I know about a place that we could do this. We could go this and whatever. And then he just goes, so shall we do it? It's like, okay. What kind of is this? Was this written by a child? It's bloody awful.
It looks like they're reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah, it's like, shall we do it? Just do it. Don't tell me, shall we? Just do it.
No, I'm surprised he didn't say, shall we do it? Ellipses. Okay. Just to emphasize how much of a pause he had to make. Just to say that I'm now in on the group doing this and doing that. But that Earth prison.
Yeah. Yeah, go on. I know what you're going to say.
Okay, first of all, right? This was in the trailers. Alright, okay. Alright, in the anime.
It was in the trailer.
Alright, okay.
It was.
Alright, okay, first of all, we know that the bending derives from martial art, actual wushu martial arts. Okay, so seeing guys doing martial arts that are high end, like coolness, like great. That means you know that they're martial arts. But when it takes 6 of you doing some pre-arranged kata that you show at a mall opening in Asia, why would you then have one small size beach ball boulder lifting up slowly for one guy to push it? How does that work? You take 6 people to lift, but 1 to push? How does that work? I'm not even that. Think about that.
Do you even lift? We do it together.
I'm not even that. That's one scene. In another scene, one guy got attacked by a firebender, and they're not even firebenders, they're fire manipulators.
Yeah, they're not even
One guy gets a fire blast lifted at him, and he lifts a massive wall to protect himself.
I love that. He was about to say something, but he couldn't. He couldn't do it.
You know what, Andrew? I think, Andrew, you need to make a point here with me, because you said something that blew minds everywhere, alright? In the anime, it's an Earth prison on water, so they can't be near Earth.
Yes,
Andrew,
yeah. It's because in the anime, all the Earthbenders were put on a metal ship, and so they couldn't bend back then. They couldn't bend metal, and so this Earth prison thing is ridiculous. Even though that the firebenders in the film, all they have is this
a campfire.
They have to bend.
And a couple of candles.
And and you can easily put that out with Earth, and the firebenders.
No, that's not even the worst of it. When the firebenders visit the southern the air tribe, right?
They could just easily put out the fire that they have.
Fire. This firebenders coming. Put out the fire.
And then that's it. Problem
You
solved.
don't even need to waterbend to do that. Just get a bucket with some snow and put it in.
Get a cloth.
Yeah.
You don't even need any elements. Stomp the fire out. Kick the rocks out of the way. Move the sticks away.
At least hide the fire.
I mean, this must have been the shittest war ever. I mean, really.
What was the war like? Truly.
What if it rained?
What does a battlefield feel like on that? If it rains, true that. If it rains in the Fire Nation, go invade it. They can't do shit. They can't do shit.
Essentially.
Well, no, because there's Iroh has the ability to do what every character can do.
Right.
It's just like when he appears in the anime, he's like, don't do it, Shao. Don't kill the thing. Don't kill the moon. And then he's all like, okay, don't do that. But in the thing, he's just like, I'm gonna show you my fabulous earthbending abilities. Where he's just like, and puts his hands out, and he's all like, "I'm amazing. Look at my fire!" And everyone's, "Oh my god, he is making fire by himself. How is he doing? How is he doing this?"
There we go.
But you know what? I think we need to be fair, right? Let's take a moment to look at what was good about the film. I know Jerome's going to be speaking very little during this part, but let's see what the film tried, or at least it showed that it kind of got right. I'll tell you, I think the only bit where there's no real exposition heavy things is between Iroh and Zuko. I think this is the tiniest amount of emotion there, but then it's quickly gone after a while.
The only thing I like about the film is the costumes. Yeah. That's where it stops.
Yeah.
I think they go, okay, yeah, they're wearing the right clothes, the right colours, and that's it.
That's what made us get so hyped, because we saw the pictures beforehand when they released all the press pics, and we were looking at the costumes like, yeah, this looks the part. Even the way, it kind of looks the part, right? Is even the way they built is it a northern what's that city? The tribe, right? Yeah. Is it northern or southern?
It's more of a kingdom.
The northern war tribe.
Yeah.
I'm talking about where they go at the end.
The
city, right? The way they built that looks really good,
yeah.
but they very rarely explore it. Like the bit in the anime, well, in the cartoon where Zuko meets up with that moon girl, whatever his name is. What was her name?
The moon girl? Was it
Not Zuko, sorry, Sokka. That was a dumb one. I apologize.
Well, let it slide. Zuko's still cool.
Yeah. So when Sokka meets with what was her name? Oh,
Princess uuhh.
Yeah, that's it. Right. When they meet and it's
penis head.
That's another thing the movie messed up. You literally gave your character a dickhead. It's like you want us to cuss it.
But yeah, it's like even the bit in the cartoon where they meet up and it's a moonlit night and they're over the bridge. You know, that's a beautiful thing in the show. But because it's cartoony, well, it still looks good cartoon. It's never not looked good. But there's a chance here to have a really beautiful scene in the film. But no, there's none of it. In fact, the relationship between them is silly.
It's awkward.
It's like they become friends quickly, apparently.
Friend zone.
Yeah, there's no this boyfriend, this arranged marriage.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Say there's no Sokka's deep love for her.
Yeah, man.
That's like the other thing I didn't like about the ending of the film. The whole bit when he's meant to go to the Avatar state and he joins with the spirit and all of that.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the show, like how he really
word.
actual manifests
That
into a
annoyed me.
big spirit and everything. It's like in the film he just walks up to the
wall.
And makes
wall.
a couple of waves.
Oh, no, not even a couple. Just one big
Just
wave.
one big wave that
And
he
then
doesn't hit them with.
And he doesn't hit him with it.
He
It's
just
one
brings
big
it up.
wave.
The
And then-
he was peacocking.
Yeah,
Is what he
and
did.
And then like they ran out of money, and that's it. It's just when the budget ran out. I was like, "What's that? What the hell?" It's like that was it.
You know what? That was literally all. When I was watching it, I went to the cinema. I wasted money on this shit,
So
right?
did I.
But it's like I was going there thinking from the beginning, how are they gonna do that bit at the end? I couldn't wait because there was a clip where he does it in the trailer. But little did we know is that's all he does in the film.
It's a little white kid doing some green and purple bolt cutters with some really shit-ass visual effects put around it.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, even in the bit in the courtyard of that water tribe, when he's going in and out the Fire Nation guys, jumping over them, lifting up water, it doesn't even look like he's actually manipulating it, to be honest. It just seems like he's doing moves 3, 4, and 5 from that one, and then you say, oh, he's moving his arms that way. Okay, let's make the water come up from the ground, even though that's not where he's manipulating it from. Like, I don't get how to be perfectly honest, even him manipulating the fucking stick was bullshit.
I'm gonna have to use the bleeper so many times.
Yeah, you will. And then some. Because when he has the stick, you know full well stuff's about to go down. Like, even on the boat, after Aang first goes with Zuko, when he goes towards the Southern Water Tribe, Zuko takes Aang after agreeing to go with him, he's inside the boat, and then immediately he gets his stick after running around Zuko for a bit. He literally like smashes him to one side with the mattress up to the ceiling, and it's like, that's awesome. But when he has a stick, all he does is just twirl it a little bit because that's another cutter from his karate syllabus. That's it. And that, for me, I'm like, you made him an airbender, you gave him his airbending tool, and you still messed up the airbending. How do you do that? And he, like when you said the good point was the clothing. So that means that they watched the show. So how do you watch the show? How do you literally go, look at all this reference. Let's take the one bit of reference and ignore everything else that people actually liked. How do you do that?
Yeah.
That takes some magnificent skill of ignorance.
That's a brilliant way of putting it.
Magnificent.
It's a magnificent way. Yeah.
And even then, the casting again. I didn't feel like any of the characters were real for me at all.
I think, you know what? I think we need to wrap up because we've gone on for a while and it's been a pretty good podcast. But we'll know what, we'll end it on a good note, because if we end it on this, it will be depressed for the rest of the day. We'll look back, forget the film, okay? We can all agree the film was bloody awful.
I would have used more swear words, but sure.
Well, let's look back at The Last Airbender and maybe a bit of Korra, because we know there's people out there that really love that essentially that OVA, as I like to call it.
Mm.
So it was a hell of a ride, and now it's over, and it was just really well done, man. I was so emotionally engrossed with these characters. Well, it was a big part of our entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just think of it as like this. Avatar was amazing.
The Last
Airbender cartoon was amazing. Now imagine they ended. There was no Korra, and the last thing they ever did with it was the movie.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We don't want to end this on a bad note. Why are you gonna do this for?
That's what they did, but they didn't. They actually gave a good, coherent way for us to get some more Avatar that wasn't just them making them older and us seeing them when they're older, because we do.
To be perfectly honest, I wouldn't have minded that, because from Avatar's ending when he kisses Katara and this zoom to the sky, wonderful ending, and then after you get a bit of taste of Zuko wanting to find out from his dad where his mum is, you get those comic books giving that kind of epilogue. But in season 1 of Korra, you find out about the bloodbending thing and how Aang. But you find out that Aang actually had an issue where that whole Team Avatar group, as grown-ups, had to deal with the bloodbender. That would have been a cool story.
No, but that would have been a small, tiny one series long arc. But enough of that.
Oh, sorry. Just one last thing we only talk about, honorable mention, because we didn't actually mention it. Avatar 1, that was brilliant, right?
He was buzz.
Cool. Right. So, I think this was pretty good podcast. Thanks for listening, anyone who stuck around, which we know you probably did. Look at you, still here, you're still listening. But yeah, so I'd say that concludes our discussion for this evening. And Virtual Dave, sign us out.
Yeah.